Hey, good morning, everybody. Time being 9 o'clock, I'd like to start today's Judicial and Public Safety Committee meeting. It is Thursday, December 12th. May I please have roll call to establish quorum?
Gums. Linder.
Roth here.
Pepe. Leonard.
Leonard here.
Molina.
Molina present.
You have an in-person quorum?
Okay, we have an in-person quorum. I did not have any remote attendance requests. Mr. Williams did call and say he was not able to attend. Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. I'll entertain a request for consent for the approval of minutes of November 14th, 2024.
Roth would request a unanimous approval.
Any opposition? Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is public comment. I have no one signed up to speak, and our monthly financial reports are on file. Merit Commission is on the agenda. I would like to discuss this with our executive committee soon. The Merit Commission is listed on our agenda, but per our county code, it is listed to be under executive committee for their review. So we'll circle back on whether or not the Merit Commission does need to be on our agenda in the future. And we will move on to KingCom. Ms. Guthrie, good morning.
Good morning. Our monthly reports are on file. I don't have a lot to report this morning. I do want to wish Katie Kurzrock, our telecommunicator. She celebrated an anniversary in November. She's now been with KingCom for 2 years. We are currently hiring. That remains our priority. Our next testing, we've taken quite a few applications. We did a big social media push that has brought in more applications. And our next skills testing is January 14th. So we look forward to that. We hired a new part-time leads agency coordinator. This is a daily task that needs to be done. It was previously filled by a stipend that other employees were handling within the union. And now we have a need for a part-time position. So Alyssa, who is public safety experience, she started with us at the beginning of December. In addition to that, not much more to report. So thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Ms. Guthrie. I did want to check on the status of one thing. If you all noticed, our committee goals are listed now at the top of our agenda per Madam Chair. And one of them was to address our safety concerns, our space needs, for KingCom especially. Do we have any update on our KingCom space needs?
I do not have any update. With Alyssa starting at the beginning of December, she's currently sharing an office back with our deputy director. As you remember, when I brought to the committee before, we showed the before and after. Our operations manager was sharing an office with the deputy director. We built an office. We've utilized all of our space. We also built the quiet room, literally utilizing all of our space. So we're back to sharing offices and pretty anxious to find a solution to that.
Okay, if there's anything else our committee can do to help move that, I think we were looking at some creative ideas to continue using that same building.
Absolutely.
So keep us updated because I think it's an important thing and it is listed as one of our goals I'd like to check off as soon as possible. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for KingCom? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to emergency management.
Good morning, John Menching here for Emergency Management, filling in for Scott. Our report is on file. He didn't give me anything specifically to bring up today, other than our new manager of operations started on Monday. He was a part-time employee who we were able to make full-time. So we're bringing him up to speed now with everything that he's got going on. So that'll greatly enhance our capabilities with running the volunteer program. Given that they were over, I believe, 13,000 hours last year or fiscal year that they donated to the county. So we'll be recognizing them in April with a record-breaking year for their service time. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jen. Any questions for KingCom? Okay, good to hear we have our employee full-time now. Okay, we will move on to Sheriff and Adult Corrections. Under Sheriff Johnson, good morning.
Good morning, all, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas, just in case, too. Just our monthly reports are on file. That's all I have to share.
Okay, any comments or questions? Under Sheriff Johnson, I did have a question regarding our housing outside of for the jail. What is the time estimate? It looks like we're now averaging about 140 inmates that we're housing outside of our county jail. Where are we going with that project? I know we were looking at, so if you just could kind of give us an update as to what what the timeline is on that and where we're at.
Absolutely. And I will double check with the sheriff too. Our last meeting, which was on Monday, it should be cut short. He's looking to reinstate everybody back into our jail facility in January. Again, I will double, triple check just to make sure that timeline is still on board, but in January 2025, looks like we will reinstate everybody back in.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, anybody have any other questions? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will move on to our coroner. Dr. Silva, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, all. It's nice to see you. It's been a very, very eventful week and a half for me. We have had 109 deaths, 21 cases required transport. Of those 21 cases, almost all I have been present on the scene for. So it's been a lot of learning. I am being told with me, by the way, I do have Chief Deputy Carrera and Assistant Chief Deputy Nielsen. Don't let anybody kid you. Whatever I say from now on, these two ladies are the ones who run the office and they do a phenomenal job. So they keep us all on track. We did have issues with our heat yesterday. So we spent all night without any heat for staff. I'm learning the ropes. We have staff who's been with us for 20 and 30 years plus. We have at least one veteran that I know of on staff. Wonderful, very committed, very specialized individuals. So we have had, this past weekend, we had very difficult cases. We've had officer-involved shooting. And we also had a number of cases this weekend which necessitated overtime work, just because of the way the schedule is set up. It's a couple days on, couple days off, and then 3 days on, 2 days off. And I'm still learning that. But I think that's one of the things that I want to take a look at to see if there's any way we can avoid that overtime. And it does get difficult on our deputies too, because they are, because there was some overtime this weekend. Now this person has to come back and work after having worked a very, very difficult weekend. Anything else, ladies?
I have nothing.
Okay. So that's where we're at.
Thank you. Questions, Mr. Leonard?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Coroner Silva, first of all, congratulations. I'm thrilled that you're our coroner and I know you'll do a great job. I would like to ask a request, and it's not a priority, but maybe somewhere in the near future, if you could possibly re-examine the search for a medical examiner. I think it'd be great. It's a very difficult search and very hard to find someone, but I think it would create a expedition in all the different cases. And number two, there would be a tremendous savings too to the coroner's office. So
Thank you, Commissioner Leonard. I actually am very much in agreement with you. It's a highly specialized physician that we need. So that is definitely something on my list, because I do think we could save money. The problem is it's very difficult to find somebody that would want to work for us full-time. Autopsies on average are about $1,500 per autopsy. So they may, it may be more beneficial for them to do contractual work, but I am on it because I 110% agree with you. If we can bring on a forensic pathologist, I think that would be best. There was something else I was going to say, but I think I'll save it for next time because it slipped my mind, but I am very much in agreement with you. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions for our coroner? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Thank you for being here. We will move on to judiciary and courts.
Good morning, Andrew Bryan, Court Administrator. Judge Villa apologizes. He couldn't be here today. He is covering a court call this morning. So we don't have anything from him to report, but we would like to give you an update on one of our new programs that we've just started. Jason, the deputy, will report on that.
Good morning, Jason Mathis, Deputy Court Administrator. I just wanted to, we kicked off our new jury system, Genesis, this week. If you had met any of the IT guys from our vendor, I think Genesis is a Star Trek reference more than a biblical one, for anybody that's ever seen some of those old movies. We paid our first jury out of it. The system is an upgrade of our old system. The reason for the upgrade really and truly for me was to have a weather occurrence drop down or emergency drop down where we could send a text blast, email blast to our jurors to let them know to not report. That way they're not out in hazardous conditions trying to get to the building. It streamlines our jury payments, check-ins. It's a huge upgrade for us overall. and it was paid for by the state's modernization program, so it was no cost to the county. So I just want to acknowledge the vendor. Judicial Systems has been fantastic with us for a lot of years. Our case flow manager, our bailiffs, they've all pitched in to learn a new system, which is not always easy, but they've really made a lot of work go into it, and it's worked flawlessly this week. So we're very happy about that. And we'll take any questions if you guys
Okay,
got them.
any questions for our judiciary? Just one follow-up question, Jason. How has the payment system gone for the for our jury with the gift card? I think was the new payment. Have you had any feedback on that? How has that been working?
It's actually for us, it's gone fantastic, and it streamlines with the new system. So the jury payment system is called Court Funds. Basically, we scan a debit card to each juror as they come in. As soon as the jury completes service, I'll authorize the funds, and the funds are loaded within a day or two. So we're paying juries within a day or two with no paper checks, no cost of that to the county. So it's a huge savings for everyone all the way around. The treasurer could probably speak to that if they were here too. We really picked this system because it synced up with what we were already doing. So we didn't have to make any fundamental changes on the payment side.
Okay, great to hear. Okay, any other questions? Any follow-up? Okay, thank you for being here. We will move on to our state's attorney. I see State's Attorney Master online there. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Sorry I cannot be there, but I am in the inexplicable 8 to noon window waiting for somebody to come fix my garage. So I don't believe that I have anything that's on the agenda for today, just have our monthly report on file, and that's about it unless there's any questions.
Okay, any questions for our state's attorney? Okay, I see no questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
And our public defender.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our reports are on file. Just an update on our construction. It's moving along on schedule. So our furniture is scheduled to come December 30th, and we will be given the space back January 3rd. So we're very excited that it will be completing and will be in our new space by the beginning of the year. Other than that, our reports are on file.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Conant? All right. Thank you for being here. And we will move on to court services.
Good morning. Our reports are on file. Looking at the numbers, they're remaining relatively stable across all the months. I'm very happy for that. We haven't seen any major changes. One thing I do want to mention that we're working on before I get to my resolution is that as the new year starts and with so many new county board members, each month we'll be doing a presentation, probably starting in February, I'm thinking, because I need to put them all together about what each unit underneath court services looks like. What does the budget pay for? Where do we get our funding from? Things like that. I notice, Madam Chair, that your first goal for this committee is to continue to review the financial impact of the Safety Act. We are trying to put together a comprehensive presentation to the board. I'd like to do it at a committee of the whole because we're trying to coordinate all of our various departments, the circuit clerk, the state's attorney, the public defender. But I'm having a hard time getting everyone's schedules to align. So I apologize that we've had to put it off so much, like just different people had things going on. They couldn't appear. I was aiming for February. I think we're going to have to push it back to March. So I'm tentative to come, but that is something that we're actively working on for you or coordinating that. And the other thing that I just want to bring up is we're in the middle of the week before Christmas, and our specialty courts have been having our holiday parties. This is something that we'll talk about going forward, but the specialty courts are not, those programs are not easy programs to complete. So for example, our drug court program, it's mandatory when people enter the drug court program. First of all, they have to have had a serious addiction and they have to be high risk, criminologically speaking. And oftentimes these people have children at home. We mandate that they go to inpatient treatment. They've done serious jail time. They haven't been home. They've often lost their jobs because they weren't able to appear for their jobs. And then when they're done with treatment, they don't go home. We make them go to a halfway house because we really want to encourage that sober living, because that's how you change behavior. You have behavior and then roll into new behavior. So as part of that, it's really hard on our participants around the holidays because they're not able to be there for their kids. So we're not using taxpayer funds. It is my department, the public defenders, all the different departments, the judiciary especially, have volunteered to donate money or adopt families anonymously. So we don't know which families it is. We have a foundation, they coordinate what family is what, but we'll take on kids from a certain family and buy them Christmas gifts. Because as I said, their parent is in a halfway house and we make them work and they have to pay for that halfway house. We don't pay for it. So their funds are tied up, they're not at home, and the kids are at home with no parents and no Christmas. So if any county board members would like to volunteer, we have 8 families left with kids that we need to get presents for. Just putting my.
Ms. Ost, what is the foundation, or how would we be able to provide that information? Provide
I
that?
will be happy to forward you the link. So we have a Google Doc where you can pull up the families and you can sign up right there and we'll make that commitment. The presents are due Monday because it's Christmas. Yeah, so the ages and the genders of the kids are listed with each family. And as I said, it's anonymous. So it'll say like family 28, that's it. And then it'll list the kids and we buy the presents that way.
Yeah, I'd request if you can send that to the full county board.
Sure, I would love to.
That
would be
way, if
wonderful.
any of us are able to do anything, we'd like to help with that.
In
Awesome.
coroner's office, please, too.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oh, this is wonderful. Thank you. It's going to be a
Mr.
good
Roth?
Christmas.
Kate, come too.
Could we maybe get something to run in Kane County Connect? I mean, let's expand that out.
Monday, the presents are due Monday.
I understand. Well, they could always do a special one.
Okay, I'll be in touch with
And
Julie.
if you don't ask, you don't have a chance.
I understand. Okay, cool. Thank you guys so much. Merry Christmas. That's wonderful. All right. Having said that, so the next agenda item I have is a resolution authorizing the contract extension for medical services for the Juvenile Justice Center. We were able to obtain a 1-year extension on our current medical contract with our current vendor who's been in place since, I don't know, many years, I think since 2011. And they're only asking for a 3% increase. So I don't have to ask you for more money because that 3% increase in commodities was already put in the budget. So we're able to cover it. I'm just making sure that you're aware that contract extension is going forward.
Roth will make the motion.
I'll entertain a motion and a second for discussion and possible approval.
Roth will make the motion.
Mr. Roth
I will
moves.
second.
Mr. Leonard seconds. Okay, wonderful. Any questions or comments regarding this resolution? Okay, hearing and seeing none, may I please have roll call?
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina.
Yes. Okay, this passes on to executive.
Thank you very much. I have nothing else.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ost. Okay, and we will move on to our circuit clerk.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My report is on file. I do like to point out a couple of things. I know you'd like to hear the collection status. Again, this is a reminder, the collection status is always a month prior to the month reporting. So we're reporting in November, but this will be October. So we collected a little over 69,000 in collections last month. Our monthly cases filed for November was a little over 4,500. Cases scheduled for court is a little over 5,500 just for November. And let's see, e-file, this is a big subject in our office, is trying to get everything in e-file. And that is up to about 26,000. So I have 7 people on my e-file team, the work from home team. So they alone did over 9,000. And the rest, is spread out throughout the office. I would also like to let you know that we're still about 10% up from last year in new cases and filings and stuff like that. That shows in my report. And I'd also like to announce that the Illinois Supreme Court created a task force, a data task force for the state of Illinois. And Chief Judge Villa and myself are representing the 16th Judicial. And this is to capture all the data for the whole state, trying to think of ways to capture it accurately because we all have different systems and we all report to our systems differently. And it's been a struggle for the state of Illinois to try and capture all the pretrial data. So they've created this task force and I'm honored to be a part of it. And that's all I have.
Wonderful, thank you. Any questions for our circuit clerk? Mr. Leonard?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to comment, I want to thank the circuit clerk for every month giving the report on the collections. She does that, I think, specifically to let me know what's going on because I always watch it. And I do thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, no other questions or comments? We'll move on. Any old business or members of the committee would like to bring up at this time? No? Okay, any new business? I'd just like to take a moment then at this time to just acknowledge and thank all of our county employees for their work and dedication during this holiday season, especially those who report to this committee who will be spending their days and nights away from family, keeping us safe and keeping this county moving. On behalf of our committee, we'd like to wish all of you a joyous and happy holiday season. Anything else our committee would like to say regarding that? And I guess another point of new business, I'd like to thank all of our current committee members for being here. And I think our committee might stay the same. So orientation will be fun. Okay, I'd like to request consent to place reports on file.
Roth would request unanimous consent for put reports on file.
Okay, seeing no opposition, reports are placed on file. We have no need for executive session. May I have a motion and a second to adjourn?
Roth was, go ahead, Mr. Leonard.
Leonard moves adjournment.
Okay, Mr. Lender moves
Leonard will move.
and Mr. Leonard seconds. All those in favor?